G'day folks, what's going on? In this one, I'm going to talk you through the morning routine that I've been following in some way, shape or form for the last pretty much 6 years since I left the corporate world and went full-time online. Now, it's undergone iterations and changes, but what I want to walk you through today is the core, really 5 steps that bring together really powerful growth in critical areas, all before your main day actually begins. Okay, this is a really important thing to nail in, because the flow-on effects are going to be massive. Okay, let's dive in. Let's start with a little quote. All right, make each day your masterpiece. All right, I think there's the quote about, we underestimate what we can accomplish in whatever amount of time. I think people pretty aggressively underestimate what they can achieve in a day, and it's because we get so stuck in this rut of, days just click by. They move so fast, then the weeks move really fast, then the months move really fast. But what I've found is through intentionality, through some pretty aggressive constraints and being very particular with how I want to spend my time, what I'm willing to include in my calendar, what I won't include in my calendar, how I start the day, what I do in the middle of the day, what I do in the end of the day. By being very intentional with my time, I've found that I can get so much out of a given day. This has allowed me to keep my business really lean, my team size down, which keeps margins up. It keeps stress down because you're not worried about paying all these people or managing all these people. If you can more effectively manage your time, it has a flow-on effect in so many different ways. Okay, so what I want to share with you today is the morning routine that I follow, and I think this has been really critical in my success online. All right, and this is what it fundamentally starts with. It starts with controlling what you can control to anchor your day. All right, so here's what typically happens. We wake up, and then pretty quickly we pick this thing up, and then we start getting emails and texts, and we're on social media, and then the workday starts, and the phone's ringing, and I don't know, maybe you're in the office and people are knocking on the door, and all of a sudden, once you get into the day, pretty much anything can happen, and a lot of it is out of our control, and it's really hectic. And so for me, starting the day before that with something that I can directly control, I can say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. And they're really core and intentional things that move forward key areas of my life. It anchors the day, and it starts things on the right foot, and it sets the day up to be as successful as possible. It's not always going to be perfect, obviously, but it sets things up in the right way. All right, so we've got to start by working out, when do we want our day to actually begin? Or if you don't run your own business and you've got a job, when does your day actually begin? And then from that time, we want to go back about 2.5 hours. Okay, now this isn't going to be one of those videos where I'm going to tell you to go and spend 2.5 hours doing like all different things, and you're not actually going to be making progress towards your business or your job or whatever. There's really material and tangible things in this plan, but the key is that we need to get them out of the way before we get into the main part of the day, and that's where your meetings start, and you're tackling your email inbox that's come in overnight. I know my inbox gets flooded overnight because I'm in Australia, and a lot of the business that I do is in the US. You start having conversations with people, calls, and building and working on whatever it is that you're working on. So whatever the day is, whatever the time of the day is that you want it to begin. So for me, I'm usually in the office here from about 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 8:30. And then I try and get in like a really good 3 to 4 focused work hours. And then after that, it really just depends on what the day looks like. Like yesterday, we had a scan for baby number 2, which is on the way in March. And so I finished up in here at like 1:30. So I'll either knock off for the afternoon, we'll go out, we'll go for a walk, we'll go out to dinner. Or if there's other things that I'm interested in at that point in time, or managing the investment. And so the afternoon is typically a lot more casual. For me, it's about those really focused 3 or 4 hours when I first get in. And that for me is when the day begins, around that 8:30, 9 o'clock mark. And so we want to wind the clock back 2 to 2.5 hours before that. So usually for me, the day's starting around 6 to 6:30. I've not yet mastered the wake up at 5 o'clock every day. I tend to stay up too late, and so that just doesn't happen. But 6 to 6:30, I can manage pretty well and pretty consistently. So work out what that is for you, and then that's where this process that we're going to dive into will begin. Okay. So step number 1, it's pretty simple. You wake up. First thing I like to do is slam a ton of water. I always feel pretty like dehydrated when I wake up, and it makes sense because you haven't had that much water over a 7-8 hour period, however long you're sleeping for. And so I'll always try and get a ton of water in. And then I usually have coffee pretty quickly after I wake up because of step number 2. I know this isn't ideal, and there's people that say that you should wait, etc. If you want to kick that down the road a little bit, go ahead. That's just my process, and that's what I've always done. And then I usually get out onto the balcony and get a bit of sun in my eyes. I feel like it's a really nice way to start today. And so this process might take 10 minutes, right? It's not a long thing. That's the view from my bedroom. So it's a beautiful place to wake up each day. So that's step number 1. Doesn't take long. Then what I do is I've got a little bit of coffee going in. I'm rehydrating. Got a bit of sunshine, right? This is where I want to be very intentional about what's going into my brain, into what's going into my reality from the start of the day, right? Now, if I just picked up the phone or hop straight on the computer, I'd be exposed to the news, social media, messages from a lot of people, and there's so much negativity, there's scarcity, there's hate, there's all this bullshit, and that is not a good way to get your headspace moving for the day ahead. And so I like to immediately curate what I put in. And so I really want to put what I call good stuff in my ears to begin the day. And so this is either going to be a motivational video. I don't do these, listen to these because I need to get revved up, but there's actually some amazing like compilations on YouTube that people have put work into to bring together with some great speeches and good music, and it's a great package to listen to as like a quick, you can search a particular topic and someone's probably created a compilation around it that you can just listen to. They're great. I listen to those at the gym a lot, or podcasts or audiobooks or interviews with ambitious, positive, abundant people. Put that into your ears straight away to start the day, and it's going to set your mindset on the right course for the day ahead, and avoid the hate comments on social media or any messages where people are burdening their problems onto you, all this kind of shit. Curate your reality. All right, that's step number 2. And so what I'll do is I've grabbed my coffee, been out on the balcony for a bit, got a bit of sunshine, then I'll go back inside and I'll put my headphones in, put something on, and I'm out the door. And the next thing that I'm doing is I'm moving. Okay, so for me, this is going to be one of 2 things. This is either going to be hitting the weights, or it's going to be getting out for a walk, right? I used to run a lot in high school. I don't really enjoy it. So for me, it's either weights or a walk. What I've found is when I do this in the morning, I have way more energy throughout the day. When I don't, I find that come the afternoon, I hit a pretty aggressive lull. And so this moving before I really get into my day is critical. It's critical from a maintaining your physical health long-term perspective. Some of you will know the story, but back in like 2018, when I was juggling full-time job and building online, I really sacrificed my health, and it's not a good thing. You need to prioritize it, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And then the third benefit, which is from this and this step as well, is that you're really giving some love to your mental health as well by giving yourself some time and some clear air before you just go and jump into a computer or get on your phone. So right now we're nurturing our physical health, we're nurturing our mental health, we're nurturing our mindset because of the content that we are putting in, and we're setting up our energy levels for the day ahead. So even in just this one little piece of it, it's ticking so many big boxes that we miss out on if we skip this. Okay, and look, I'll raise my hand. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I miss it, but I try and do it as much as I can. All right. One little point that I wanted to add here as well is that ChatGPT can now pretty much act as a personal trainer. So there's really no excuses to like, oh, well, I don't know what to do if I go to the gym or whatever. I've just given a little snapshot. But you can see here, like, just tell it exactly where you're at now, your goals. Do you want to put on weight? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain muscle? How often do you want to train? If you only want to work out twice a week and then go for a walk or go for a run the other days, whatever. Tell it what equipment you have, tell it what you don't have, tell it what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. It will build you a custom plan, and then you can just talk to it like a personal trainer, and it will iterate, it will change, say, I loved this, I hated this, I don't want to do this, I want to do more of this. Give me an extra workout during the week, do less workouts. I'm currently in the process of experimenting with going to the gym 7 days a week. I know that's not optimal, but it's something that I want to try. And so I can just communicate with this thing like it's a personal trainer, and we can go back and forth and just modify the plan in real time together. If I miss a workout, I can say, hey, ChatGPT, I missed Friday's shoulder and arm session. Can you tweak up my workout for Sunday to make up for it? And it will just quickly on the fly. So start using that if you really want to take this like moving thing each day to another level. I've found it to be incredibly powerful. All right, so that's step number 3 is move. Number 4, now we start getting into the business component of this morning routine. Okay, so we've got up, we've hydrated, we've got some sun in our eyes, we've got some positive stuff in our ears, we're moving, looking after our physical health, looking after our mental health, setting up our energy for the day ahead. For me, with my business, my brand plays such a big part in what I do. Right now, I don't have a massive brand, at least not at the time of filming this, 25 to 30,000 people across all platforms, but that has made me millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars because I'm an expert at creating and nurturing relationships through my personal brand. I don't have the biggest personal brand in the world, but it is very, very effective. Okay, and so every single day, I'm nurturing my audience and building those relationships at scale through the content that I put out publicly on social media. Okay, so after I've been out for a walk or have gone to the gym, I'll either do this at home or I'll come into the office and do it. I'm putting out a piece of content onto my public social media platforms. Okay, over the last few years, that's primarily been Facebook. With a bit of Instagram. I'm in the process of expanding the ecosystem more, so it's starting to become a more holistic approach. But regardless, I'm putting content out in front of my audience so that they can get to know me and what I do better. That is the goal of it. Now, that happens in one of 2 ways. I either write it on the spot or I've prepared it in advance and I literally just copy paste and share it. The whole point is this: make it a daily habit to put out content that can get your brand in front of new people and will strengthen the relationship with the people who follow you. Okay, I talk to a lot of people like, oh, dude, I don't have time for social media. And it's because they get into the day and then all this stuff that we spoke about back here, meetings, emails, conversations, calls, they're building whatever they're building. It all happens. And then this stuff gets forgotten. And this is such a high ROI activity. If you have, I don't care what your online business is, you building a personal brand is going to be incredibly beneficial. Okay, and so if you make this a daily habit before the day even begins, you won't miss it. All right. Now, let's go on to step 5. Step 5 is converting and cash flowing. Okay, so for me, this comes down to 2 main things: emailing my list and making an offer. So if you've got your public audience who follow you on social media, and a percentage of them are going to have taken a step forward and joined your email list. And so that is a more close-knit audience. And so I email them every day and I make an offer. I might have a story. There might be something about, an offer that I'm running, whatever, but there's always an offer directly or indirectly included in that email. And so that's step 5. And then the other thing that I do is reply to the DMs requesting offers and follow up offers that I sent yesterday. If they haven't paid or I haven't heard back from them, I'm following up, not to hard sell people, but to reach a landing on it either way. Okay. And so where this is a very marketing based activity, this is a sales and cash flow based activity. It means that before I really dive into the day, I'm growing my brand, I'm nurturing my brand, and I'm making offers, which are the critical things to move the business forward. This is another thing. People, I don't have time to email my list. Do it first up. Again, either you can write it in advance, copy and paste it, send it, or you can write it on the spot if you can do that, and then hit your DMs, send out the offers to the people that have messaged you, and follow up the ones from yesterday that haven't replied. It's a really simple plan and cadence to get into that means that you're moving these big components of the business forward before the day begins. Okay? So why is this so powerful? If you think about all the steps that we just went through, right? We wake up, we hydrate, we get a bit of sun, we're curating our reality, we're moving, we're growing our brand, and we're monetizing. Think about the massive buckets that you've just ticked before the day really begins, right? We haven't even really got into the meat of the day. This is the morning, and we've looked after our physical health, our mental health and clarity, our brand and our marketing, and our cash flow and sales. Now, is there more things that we can do under all those buckets? Absolutely. But at the very least, we've ticked some massive boxes before the day begins, which means that if the day gets derailed by other people and all these things that we can't control start to take over, we've built such a solid foundation before the day even began. Okay. This is just one little final lesson that I want to wrap up on. When I left the corporate world, I thought being free meant like kind of not having anything to do or having as much spare time as possible. And while I like to keep my calendar clear of obligations to other people, like I don't want to spend all day on the phone with other people, the more structure and discipline that I create, like a morning routine, like I've just walked you through, the more free you will ultimately be, because you're getting the critical things done, which means that they don't slip later into the day and then into the evening and then ultimately don't get done, which is obviously going to impact your freedom, because these are pretty key things that are either impacting your health, your mental health, your marketing and brand, or your cash flow. And so the more disciplined you can be with structures like this, the more free you will ultimately be. Hopefully you found that helpful. Go and implement some variation of that, and I think you'll really enjoy the benefits. Above all else, just think about those big buckets. Early in the day, how can I hit my physical health, my mental health, brand, and cash flow? If you tick those boxes and then get into your day, you're going to set yourself up for success. I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.